Welcome to the show, Ariel. How are you today, my friend?
I'm so good. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to talk today.
Yeah, absolutely. We're super excited to have you on the show. Now, first question we always ask is, what are you doing to nourish yourself right now?
So lately, I've been really focusing on building community and tribe. It's really nourishing for me to just be around the people that I love and that light me up and make me feel good. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Just being around people and building community.
I
Mm-hmm.
love it. Now, how are you going about doing this?
So focusing on, real interactions with real people, because
Mm-hmm.
with the social media world, we can really get caught up in, the social aspect, but sometimes it's really good to just have that face-to-face interaction and making sure you're also nourishing the relationships that are in your life every day physically is really important. So focusing on that.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah, it's so
important.
funny that you mentioned that because I was just telling Megan that I joined a couple of different Facebook groups
Mm-hmm.
for, like-minded girls in Colorado who like to hike or trail run or everything. And I'm actually meeting up with a girl later today to go trail running because I was like, I need actual people to hang out with. Like, I love seeing
Exactly.
everybody on Zoom and, Instagram stories and everything, but I was like, I need to give a friend a hug, like in real life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm constantly like reaching out to people from Instagram too that I've made, Insta friends with. And if
Hmm.
I'm in like a different city, like Portland, I'll be like, hey, who's in Portland? Let's meet up. Let's hang out. Like, I want to see your face. That's
Hmm.
just really, really cool that we can do that now and with the technology we have.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, totally. Like, let's be real friends, not just
Yes,
Instagram friends.
exactly.
Yeah, I love it.
Very cool. Well, Ariel, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into, because we read your intro in
Hmm.
or we read your biography in the intro. So tell our listeners just a little bit more about how you got into the position you're in now.
Yeah, so I went to UC Santa Cruz where I received a bachelor's of neuroscience and psychology, and I'm also a nutritional therapy practitioner now. I just got certified in November. But how I kind of built to this, my background is about like 5 years ago, I started transitioning to a more holistic lifestyle. Before that, I was eating the standard American diet. I was not interested in holistic nutrition at all. I didn't even know about it. I barely knew how to cook my own food. So that was a huge transition for me when I kind of woke up to the idea that I wasn't feeling good. I was depressed. I was out of shape. I had toxic relationships in my life. I had low self esteem, and just kind of realizing that I needed to make this change in my life and that no one else was going to do it for me. So I started eating better and doing tons of research into food and nutrition because I just felt like that was the natural first step, is kind of changing my diet. And when I started doing the research, I started learning about some really scary things that I didn't know about. Like, our food is sprayed with glyphosate and all the factory farming and all the processed chemicals that are put into our food supply. I didn't know about any of this. I was completely shocked and just, I did a complete 180 because I just didn't want to be a part of that system. When I realized how bad it was, I wanted to cook everything from scratch. I just started teaching myself how to cook and choosing 100% organic ingredients. I just kind of went full force into it. And I started feeling better, of course. I started having more self esteem. I was also kind of transitioning into a more positive mindset as well, and only kind of associating with people that made me feel good as well, because I had a lot of toxic relationships in my life back then. So it was a huge transition, and feeling better. And then what happened was I looked on the back of my tube of toothpaste and realized, oh my gosh, it has all these harmful chemicals that I can't even pronounce, and I'm putting it in my mouth every day. So that's when I realized I had to make my own toothpaste. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? I started doing tons of research online and different DIY mixtures and lots of formulations and trial and error. And I came up with this recipe that has clays, herbs, spices, and essential oils. And it actually tasted way better than like regular toothpaste. It cleaned the mouth better. And after giving it to various people to sample, even my dentist was like, wow, this cleaned my mouth so well. How do I buy it from you? And I was kind of shocked, like, what? People want to buy this from me? I was just kind of creating it for me and my family, and that kind of sparked my interest that maybe I may have, something that fills a niche in the community, even though there's a lot of natural toothpaste out there. The way that I'm doing it is still unique, and yeah, just kind of went from there.
Mm-hmm. So cool. Now, can you talk to us about some of the toxins that really sparked your interest in what to be aware of and what to avoid in terms of what they put in our skincare? Because we know there's so many different toxic chemicals. I mean, I talk to people, to like my clients, about this every single day. We live in a super toxic world. I mean, there's over 88,000 different toxic chemicals that they're putting in everything from our personal care products to our household cleaners to our food, like even what we put in our bodies. I mean, it is really scary stuff, but a lot of people are still super unaware that this problem even exists, for one. But then they're like, okay, well, there's a problem, there's chemicals, so what do I look for? Because you hear people all the time where they'll still go to Whole Foods and they're like, oh, I buy everything from Whole Foods. Mm-hmm. All of my shampoo and my deodorants, it's all from Whole Foods. So how can you help people like navigate those waters?
Yeah, so one of the first things that is in many different skincare products, which is a preservative agent, it's parabens. So that's super important to just avoid at all costs, in my opinion. It comes on the label as like methylparaben or propylparaben. Anything with paraben in the end of it is going to be part of this category. And what it does is it prevents mold and bacteria buildup, but it also has estrogen mimicking properties. So the chemical structure of paraben, the parabenzoic acid, actually attaches to the estradiol receptor within the body. And this is going to be activating the estrogen receptor, which creates symptoms of estrogen dominance. And as we know, that's a huge issue right now with so many people and so many women, because there are so many estrogen mimicking compounds in the world. Parabens is just one of them. And another one would be BPA, for example. So we want to make sure that we're getting things that are in glass or stainless steel, because the BPA also causes the same estrogen mimicking effect. And the symptoms can be tender breasts, PMS symptoms, basically. So if you're having really strong PMS symptoms, such as tender breasts and different mood issues and cramping and headaches, this can actually be a sign of estrogen dominance. It's not necessarily natural to be having these intense symptoms, and it could be related to having parabens in your skincare.
Mm-hmm. That's wild.
Yeah, so that's just one. And then another one that I would recommend avoiding is, for the toothpaste specifically and also cleaning products in general, is sodium lauryl sulfate, which is SLS. And SLS is a foaming agent that creates the bubbly effect in cleaning products, toothpaste, soap, shampoos. It's a documented and well-known skin irritant. So actually, pharmaceutical companies will create a rash on the skin when they're doing a testing with SLS. It'll create the rash, and then they'll test if their cream will soothe that rash. So that's how well known it is as a skin irritant. And we're putting it in our mouth every day. Conventional toothpaste, they all have SLS in it. And many people will get canker sores in their mouth, and they don't know what it's from. And many times it's actually SLS. And they will remove SLS from their toothpaste, and they say that their canker sores go away. So that's super interesting.
Wow.
And there's really not any reason to have SLS in a product outside of the foaming factor,
exactly.
Right? Yeah,
exactly.
People get used to it, and they're like, oh, my shampoo should foam, or my toothpaste should foam up, because that's what we're trained for, or like trained to expect, but it has like no actual value.
No, it doesn't. Many people just think that bubbles mean cleaning, and so they just keep adding more and more SLS because people think it's clean, and they're like, yeah, this is what people want.
Wow. I have a personal story with SLS. So I actually bought a dish soap like that I do my dishes at the sink with, because we're pretty good. I use like Ecos Free and Clear, which is the best that I can have found so far. But one time I bought another brand and it had SLS in there, and I thought it was like a pretty comparable brand to the one that we were using. And I actually broke out into eczema on the back of my hands. And I was like, what is going on? And I looked at the dish soap that my boyfriend Alex had bought. And like, he thought he was doing a good job. And I mean, when he brought it home, I was like, oh yeah, it looks like pretty good. I didn't, I guess, really look at the ingredients. I just kind of relied on the brand because they have some other good stuff. And I looked at the back of it and it had SLS in there. And I was like, holy crap, this is the only thing that I've introduced onto my skin in the last week. And now I literally have eczema on the back of my hands because I struggled with it when I was younger due to cleaning chemicals, actually. And I was just like, holy poo, it's crazy how it affects the body so fast, like such a little amount too. I'm not like bathing in it.
No. Yeah. It's scary.
And there's people that use it every day and they don't even stop to think about how this accumulates in their bodies. So just as you were saying, like the parabens being estrogen mimicking, it's all of these different chemicals. It's our toxic load that we're just building up. And it's almost like our bodies come to somewhat of a degree of having like a tolerance effect, right? It's like it's used to all these chemicals. So it's like we don't feel like shit anymore because we're used to them. But there's still,
we're just used to feeling like shit.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Like, oh, this is normal. And then you cut it all out and you realize, whoa, this is what I could feel like.
It's not normal.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
But
so what are some other ones, Ariel?
Yeah, it's specifically in toothpaste. I'd like to talk about one more. It's fluoride. It's a toxic halogen that basically what fluoride does is it competes with iodine in the receptor sites for the thyroid hormone. So because all halides are structurally similar, like iodine is a halide as well, so is fluoride, so is chloride, so is bromide. So when you're putting fluoride in your body, it actually will stick into the thyroid receptor site and block it. So as opposed to where parabens is activating the receptor site, the fluoride's actually blocking the activation of the thyroid receptor so that the active thyroid hormone cannot bind and create its effects, which are increasing metabolism and everything else that thyroid hormone does. So you're actually going to be getting symptoms of hypothyroidism because if you have too many halides in the body. And this happens with also unfiltered tap water. If you're showering in it, it has chlorine in it. So it's actually going to be steaming up and you're going to be breathing in the chlorine gas. And that's also going to be filling up the receptor sites for the thyroid hormone. So fluoride and chlorine, definitely things to avoid. This is why you want a shower filter. I use the Berkey shower filter. You want something that can filter out that chlorine. It's really important for your health.
Yeah.
I was totally just visualizing the periodic table, which I have not done in a really long time. But as you were talking about all this, I was totally picturing that column.
Yes. Yeah.
So funny. Yeah, but definitely that brings up a really good point about the shower filter is a lot of people don't really think too much about a shower filter, or they're like, oh, I drink, I have a Berkey and I drink filtered water. So I'm okay getting away with everything else. But it's so true. Like the steam and the heat, what it does to our water in terms of those chemical compositions like fluoride and chlorine, not good. It's like a steam sauna that you're just breathing in chemicals.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to be using a steam sauna at a gym. That's why you want to use an infrared sauna. And I really like Sauna Space. Sauna Space is a really great infrared sauna. They actually have just created an EMF-free sauna where they have shielded technology. So that's super cool. I saw them at the NTA conference as well. They were showing that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Where I go for massage therapy or for massage, they have an infrared sauna that I've sat in a couple of times. And oh my gosh, it is amazing.
Yeah,
it's
really good. Really important for detoxifying and sweating. And that actually brings me to deodorant. So the aluminum in the deodorant is, everyone knows I think by now that aluminum is super toxic and bad in the deodorant and that we want a more natural alternative. But the reason is that aluminum is the antiperspirant. It creates the antiperspirant effect, which means it completely basically clogs your sweat glands. And we have over 20 lymph nodes in our armpits. These lymph nodes actually filter out toxic waste and harmful substances. So when you're building up those toxic substances in the armpits and then the body wants to naturally sweat it out and detoxify, that's why we have so many sweat glands in our armpits. The body is smart. It put these things together for a reason. And then you're clogging the sweat glands with the aluminum and preventing that detoxification pathway. So you're going to have a buildup of toxins. And then another ingredient in deodorant is propylene glycol, which is a penetration enhancer. So when these two things are put together, it's actually going to drive the aluminum deeper into the body. It can go into the bloodstream and it crosses the blood-brain barrier, and then it actually builds up in the brain tissue, and it's been shown to be linked with Alzheimer's dementia as well.
Wow. I did not know that about propylene glycol.
Mm-hmm,
Just shoveling it in there faster. That's
if you look it up like on
so crazy.
EWG, it's a penetration enhancer. That's actually what it's used for. That's like it's
okay.
Yeah.
That is just so crazy. Yeah, I've heard an example once when you're using something like aluminum. If you want to have kind of like a gross comparison, it would be like preventing yourself from like pooping or peeing, because it's just like your body's like natural excretion pathway that you're just like totally blocking.
Exactly.
And that tends to get people's attention. They're like, oh, okay, so I guess I should sweat.
People don't realize how toxic we actually are. Like, even if you're eating organic food, there's still cross-contamination. Like, our world is just so toxic these days that we're getting it from the air, we're getting it from the food supply, and we have to have strong detoxification pathways now more than ever.
Definitely.
So true.
I do still occasionally wear deodorant with aluminum if it's like something where I'll be really nervous and don't want to be a sweaty Betty.
Yeah. Well,
like when I'm meeting a girl crush or something like that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to wear real deodorant. So
you need to try the Treat Yourself deodorant because ours is just as effective.
Yeah. I feel like I've gone through like the whole, like detox where I don't always like smell super like rank or anything, but then there's just sometimes I'm like, this calls for real deodorant. So
Casey.
It's been like twice in the past year, but
Oh my goodness.
It happens.
Yeah.
So
we just have to try our best.
Exactly.
I took some extra charcoal and
there you go.
Doing the best that you can do. Yeah, and that's the other thing. I think that people get really nervous about switching over their products because they're like, oh, my breath is going to stink or my armpits are going to be sweaty and all of these things. And it's like, yeah, for a period of time, your body is going to go through that detoxification process, but eventually you'll get to the other side, and where a natural deodorant or a natural toothpaste is going to cut it, especially one as awesome as yours with all the different spices and essential oils and stuff. So you just have to get there. But what are some things that people can do to help detoxify their body?
So sauna, super important. Making sure that you're sweating. So even like working out and going for runs, the sweating pathway is just number one way to detoxify your body, and then cutting out the actual toxins that you're ingesting. So choosing organic food, choosing grass-fed, all that good stuff, pasture raised, because we know that there's glyphosate heavily sprayed in our food supply. Like avoiding the dirty dozen, if you can't choose all organic would be a helpful way. And then choosing less toxic body care products as well. So just reading the ingredients and making sure that you can actually pronounce them and that they're not, chemically derived.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back. I had a couple more questions about your toothpaste or the tooth powder. So some people may be wondering like, okay, I'm not actually consuming this, like it's just going in my mouth and I'm going to be spitting it out. But I read on your website, the mouth absorbency efficiency rate is 90%. Can you go a bit more into that?
It's just a really sensitive, thin layer of tissue with a lot of blood vessels. So it's just like the vaginal canal and the mouth. They're both very absorbent. So anything that you put in there is going to be absorbed very quickly into the bloodstream because of that really sensitive tissue.
Got it. So it does matter what you are using. Just driving this home for the listeners. It does matter. Just because your body is absorbing that. And then over a lifetime, how many gallons of toothpaste do we actually consume? I read this on your website, so I can answer the question.
How many? Tell me.
It was 20 gallons, you guys. That's crazy. I mean, this is over a lifetime.
That's insane.
Still, that's a shit ton of
especially
toothpaste.
if you're for your children as well. It's just really important. These tooth powders are safe for kids as well too. So because they're actually swallowing it a lot of the time.
Wow. So tell us more about the benefits of the ingredients in the Treat Yourself Natural Clay tooth powder.
Yes, I would love to. So the first and main ingredient is calcium bentonite clay. And
now, can I ask you really quick, calcium bentonite clay, how is that different from bentonite clay, or is there just a bunch of calcium in bentonite clay?
So there's actually 2 different types of bentonite clay.
Okay.
This is really important to know. So the most common and cheaper option is sodium bentonite clay. And generally, if you see other tooth powders that have bentonite clay in them, they might not even specifically say which type, and most of the time that's because it's sodium bentonite. It'll just say bentonite clay on the label, but we specifically say calcium bentonite clay because it's really important for mouth health to use the calcium bentonite clay. It's going to be helping to actually remineralize the teeth, and the calcium will add to the tooth structure. Whereas the sodium is not going to have that same benefit. So you can use this to kind of pack a cavity. If you have a small cavity that's on the outside of the enamel, these are totally reversible, and you can actually remineralize the teeth and take away the cavity, which a lot of people think is not possible, but it is. And specifically with calcium bentonite clay, that's an important part of remineralization. So we choose to use that, and we source it from a really high quality place in the Mojave Desert, and he gives us the COAs. It's super pure. It's a super pure product, and he tests for heavy metals as well.
Cool.
Oh, very cool.
That's really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it's important to test for heavy metals because clay is really absorbent, and it will pull metals from the earth.
Yeah, and nothing like little lead in your toothpaste, right?
True. Not good. And then the second ingredient is Ceylon cinnamon. And Ceylon cinnamon is antibacterial, antiseptic. So it adds a lot of extra cleansing properties to the tooth powder. It'll make it feel a lot fresher. And it also adds a little bit of sweetness. So it's a natural sweetener. You don't need to add like xylitol. In toothpaste, they use vegetable glycerin as an emulsifier and sweetener. And then there's also xylitol and different things like that. But the cinnamon is sweet enough, and it tastes really good. The next ingredient is clove. And clove is really cool because it's a natural analgesic. So what it does is it prevents nerve pain and sensitivity. It actually takes away nerve pain. That's what analgesic means. And so when you brush it directly onto the gums, it actually will decrease tooth pain and sensitivity. So people can switch from Sensodyne to this, and it will actually decrease their sensitivity and take it away, where the Sensodyne is more of just like a Band-Aid on the issue. It's not helping in any way. So yeah, that's the clove. And then activated coconut charcoal, which is a teeth whitener. We chose to use activated coconut charcoal. It's actually charcoal from organic coconut shells. And what activated charcoal does is it adsorbs toxins and lifts up stains from the teeth. So it's going to be detoxifying the mouth while also whitening the teeth. And many people say that they see the benefits within 2 brushings, but I would say give it a couple weeks for lighter shades of teeth. A lot of people are worried about the activated charcoal. They've heard that it's abrasive, but that's only if you're using straight activated charcoal on your teeth as the whitener, which some people do, but mixed in with all these other gentle powder ingredients in the concentration that it's mixed with, you can use this every day, twice a day, and you're not going to have any issues of abrasiveness on the enamel.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. And then that one's not as dark, right? Or is it black like the other charcoal?
It is black, but the tooth powder is gray.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Because it's mixed with all the other ingredients. And then the last ingredient that I want to talk about is actually turmeric. Turmeric is anti-inflammatory. So what it does is it decreases bleeding gum issues. It actually will be anti-inflammatory for the gums if you have any inflammation, and takes away any bleeding problems. So that's really, really cool.
Whew, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, which flavor is your favorite? If I'm gonna do some shopping.
Yeah, my favorite is the peppermint eucalyptus. I like the peppermint with a little bit of the herbal flavor from the eucalyptus. It's a little bit stronger than the spearmint, but if you like, for a lot of first timers, they like spearmint because it has that naturally sweet spearmint flavor that's a little bit lighter than peppermint, and it tastes more like your regular toothpaste. So spearmint's the best transitioner, but my favorite's peppermint eucalyptus.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to try that.
I know. I'm gonna put that in my cart.
Yeah.
And we're actually doing a sale right now too for
perfect
Earth Day. If you purchase anything, you get a free tooth powder refill. So we just launched our eco-friendly compostable refill bags. So you can actually buy your tooth powder and then you can pour it in with the refill bag. You don't have to buy an all new jar.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I saw that on your Instagram account today.
Yeah, we're super excited to finally launch that because being more eco-friendly and, just that's really important for us. We don't want to be using plastic and anything, and yeah.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Kudos to you guys. Save Mother Earth, I think it's really cool you guys are doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, can I ask you just a quick question about like your CBD products? Because I saw that you guys have CBD products on your account as well.
Mm-hmm.
And CBD is like, especially in skincare products like lotions and different things, being anti-inflammatory. Mm-hmm. So yeah. I just think that's awesome. I actually have a CBD like hemp oil that I use for sore muscles.
Yeah, so we have CBD full spectrum hemp oil in all of our honey masks. We have 3 different honey masks. And then we also have it in our Sacred Beauty Balm and our hemp and green tea beauty nectar. So as you said, it's really anti-inflammatory. So it's great for helping reduce redness and inflammation in the skin and evening out skin tone. And it's also, I really like to use it as a breast massage. So I'll use the Sacred Beauty Balm that we have as a breast massage to help get the CBD into the breast tissue because I get a lot of tender breasts sometimes. So that helps to reduce that pain.
Oh, wow. That's so cool. I never even thought about that use.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of women that get the tender breasts, especially around their cycles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really helpful to massage CBD into that area.
Okay, I'm going to try it. I'm definitely going to try it now that you've said that.
Yeah.
I'll be laying in my bed tonight.
Yes.
That's so cool. Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of people have heard about CBD and they're starting to use it, but it's like, I think that some people are still a little cautious of it because they're like, ooh, is this related to like THC? Am I going to get high from it?
Yeah, you do not. There's not any active psychoactive effects from the CBD itself, and also you wouldn't like test positive on a drug test at all.
Yeah. Super cool. Now, just for our listeners, can you, besides the anti-inflammatory effects, can you talk about some other benefits that they would see? Obviously with like breast tenderness, that's a good one. Do you have any other examples like that?
So if you're taking it, that's mostly for the skin would be the anti-inflammatory effects and the reducing pain effects. But if you're taking it internally, it's our body has an endocannabinoid system that will be naturally activated from the CBD, and it actually has the highest concentration of CBD receptors in our uterus. So if you're having menstrual cramps or anything like that, you can actually take it internally or also rub it on the uterus area to reduce menstrual pain and cramping.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these are things I did not know about CBD.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we use just CBD oil for like anxiety or especially like in concussions, really good for the anti-inflammatory effects if you've ever had a concussion or hit your head. Oh gosh, sleep, of course, is another good one. So, well, that's really cool. Well, thanks for touching on that really quick. I think that's exciting that you guys have those products and you offer them.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and then just one more toxin that I really wanted to ask you about. So I'm like circling way back around because it's a big one that I think a lot of people don't really, they just like scan over it on the ingredient list. So especially if a product, if you start reading the ingredient label and you see organic, non-toxic, cruelty-free, all of these things, you start reading the ingredient label, you're like, yeah, coconut oil, some essential oils, this looks good. And then you see the word fragrance and a lot of people don't really understand it. So they're like, oh, okay, it's just, fragrance. It's like smell. And it's like, this must be good.
Yeah.
But it's like literally in so many different products. It's crazy. So can you talk to us about the importance of that one?
Yeah, so fragrance is an all-encompassing name for hundreds of ingredients. It can have many, many things in it. It's basically a mixed cocktail of scent chemicals added to a dispersant, which is usually diethyl phthalate, which is a hormone disruptor in itself. Phthalates, specifically, phthalates block the conversion to testosterone. So you're going to have a decrease in testosterone from using phthalate. So it's interesting that parabens are a hormone disruptor for your estrogen, but phthalates are specifically disruptive for testosterone synthesis. And those can be in fragrance, which is crazy. And then basically it's created because it provides confidentiality for the company. That's what they say. So they don't have to disclose their proprietary scent blend. But this is going to conceal for the consumer what the true ingredients are, which are super dangerous. They can be allergenic to a lot of people, just the scents in themselves. And there can even be like formaldehyde in fragrance, and they wouldn't have to put that on the label. Like it can literally have anything almost. And there's a loophole where they can just put fragrance on the label. So what you really want to look for is organic essential oils, 100% pure essential oils for the scents, not fragrance, because fragrance is most likely going to be a mixture of many different harmful chemicals.
Or perfume.
Yes, same. Perfume, yes, exactly, is just fragrance.
That's wild. I know. I always tell people, I think it's like upwards of 300 different toxic chemicals that they can hide in the word fragrance.
Mm-hmm.
It's so crazy.
It's insane.
It's insane. It's so sad. Well,
yeah, I can't even walk down the laundry aisle, because of all the fragrances that are coming out into the air, and then they're causing congestion and immune responses within me just from smelling it. And then imagine if you're actually washing your clothes with it, you're putting it to your skin, and then it's going to be absorbing into your bloodstream as well and causing all these immune reactions. So it's super dangerous. It can lead to autoimmunity and cancer. It's very serious.
Yeah, these toxic chemicals are very serious. This is why we've got such an epidemic of infertility right now, thyroid issues, like you mentioned, hormonal imbalances in general, right? It all ties back to infertility and everything. It's so sad. Kids with ADHD, ADD, just attention deficit. And especially a lot of us nowadays, it's like the brain fog, right? Like word recall, all of that kind of stuff. I mean, people definitely need to start waking up to the toxic chemicals that are in all of their skincare and personal care products, because these are what are creating the issues for us. I mean, these things are not tested. We have no evidence of what they are or aren't doing to our bodies. So
Yeah,
really
completely
scary.
agree.
Yeah, really scary stuff. Okay, well, so what about solutions? So now people are like, okay, I'm educated on all of these different ingredients. So where do people start? Like, what do you do?
You start educating yourself and becoming an extremely good label reader.
Yeah.
You have to do it for yourself because no one's going to do it for you. And that was part of my journey too, is just research, research, research.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like once you have, learned these things, just really putting it into effect and not, ingesting things that have chemical preservatives and ingredients because they're going to have cumulative effects on the body. Just knowing how serious it is and that it's not just something to overlook,
Mm-hmm.
and then, you know, throwing out or trying to use up all of your harmful body care products and transitioning to a cleaner company that you trust
Like
because
treat yourself.
yes.
Yes.
Exactly. Someone, who's done the research for you and just that you can trust that they're going to be 100% clean and pure.
Mm-hmm. And a really good resource for this too, you guys, is Ariel mentioned earlier the environmental working group, like the Dirty Dozen Clean 15. Also, you can go on their website and you can look up your current products. So like your toothpaste and your deodorant and your shampoo and your face wash and your laundry detergent and your dish soap and your freaking you name it, go on there and look it up. And then it's going to tell you its toxic rating from 0 to 10. And if it falls anywhere in that like yellow, orange, especially red zone, like use it up and find a company that's got a safer option. Yes. And definitely look into companies like Ariel's, the treat yourself, but then also look into on EWG for other products like, the laundry detergents and things are like, that are a little bit harder to find better options. EWG will have some suggestions on there. So check that out and see what's available in your area, and then finding companies that you love and trust like Treat Yourself and just supporting those companies and sticking to them because they've done the homework like Ariel said, and they've got this dialed in and they're making really good, clean, safer products.
Exactly. Yeah, EWG is a great resource. I use it all the time.
Yeah, I love EWG. It's a good one. And then there's a lot of information, of course, like PubMed. You can like look up these chemicals and learn about what they're doing to your body, staying away from that stuff. So, yeah. Okay. And then, yep, like she said, just finding safer options as they slowly start to run out, replacing that stuff. And eventually, getting your home to a point where there's not one bottle of anything that comes from the grocery store anymore, ideally. No more Clorox, no more, oh gosh, all of the things. Anything you walk down that aisle, I'm right there with you. When I walk down those aisles, I just am overwhelmed and I can't do it. I avoid it.
Yeah. And it's just increasing our toxic load, just smelling it in. It's terrible.
And then you've got a headache for the rest of the day.
Exactly.
Yep. Well, Ariel, this has been awesome. Super, super informative. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on and share all this information with our listeners. Now tell us a little bit more about where people can find you.
Yeah, so we're super active on Instagram. You can find Treat Yourself at Treat Yourself Inc. INC on Instagram. You can also check out our website and see all of our products on there at treatyourselfinc.com. And then you can also find me personally, and my nutrition account on Instagram is at Wellness with Ariel.
Okay, very cool. Now, are you working with clients one-on-one as well?
I am now, yeah. I just started at this wellness functional medicine practitioner office in Martinez in the East Bay where I live called The Remedy. And I just started, so I'm super excited, working one-on-one with people.
Cool. Congratulations. So definitely to all our listeners out there, if you guys need some more one-on-one advice on how to clean up your home, reach out to Ariel, head over to her website and check her out.
Yes, definitely.
So very cool. All right, Ariel. Well, thank you so much. This has been a true pleasure. So thank you again so much for all your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a lot of fun talking with you and your listeners.
We did too. Thank you.